Welcome back to Tales from the PowerAge. How you doing, guys?
All good, mate.
Great. Right, tonight we're talking about a Scorpions gig with Extreme at Wembley Arena. So we're going to go through that in a bit of detail in a few minutes. Before we do that, though, I'd just like to remind everyone that's watching this, please give us a sub, please give some likes, hit the house bell, get involved. We'd love it if you did that. But while we're on that subject, it's a brilliant segue into meeting a number of guys that have liked, subscribed, and got involved in the podcast. We went to a little boozer that we frequent prior to any gig at Wembley Arena called JJ Moon's, only because it's the cheapest pub within the near vicinity, and there's some great pictures there. So I'll go to Jam first. I know you've met some of these guys first. Any comments on the wonderful people we met in the afternoon?
No, it was really cool. And also, I'm trying to see who we've got there. We've got, there we go, we've got Saxon George down there, bottom right next to me there, fellow Saxon brethren. It's more awesome to meet him. One of Leon's mates. Leon's celebrating his birthday, as you see there as well. And I think Gary, top right, Dill and I, there you go there. Gary from Cork via Kingston. Really good. No, it's awesome. That's really cool. Really good to meet some really great people. We had some good ales from the PowerAge and some good chats. It's really cool.
Brilliant. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming.
A couple of guys on Twitter as well. Be wrong of us not to mention. We've got Sean Kelly in the top left-hand corner of Leon as well. So how you doing, Sean? Good to see you. Probably going to see you quite a bit of you this summer. John in the middle is up from near Manchester way. So how you doing, John? I can't remember your mate's name behind, but we're having a good whinge, as good middle-aged men do, about the merch queues and the merch prices. So we'll talk a bit about that later. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got Russell from Dublin, who is a.k.a. the Duck Loves Rock. And lovely to meet you, mate. Really good to see you. So
we've got a clip of us outside the arena, if you want to show it.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Tales from the PowerAge. Hope you're well. Tonight we are Extreme Scorpions at Wembley Arena, which you can see behind us. How you doing, boys?
Yeah, we're all good.
All good,
mate.
Looking forward to it. So, fresh from Amsterdam for me, fresh from Coronation Street for these boys.
Hey.
But we're looking forward to tonight. Anything in particular you're looking forward to tonight, Gav?
Extreme.
Oh,
Sorry. Nuno Betancourt and Matthias.
I'm just looking forward to seeing the Scorpions again, because they're just one of the greatest rock bands in the world.
Oh, you speak of
Without
that.
doubt.
Yes.
They never fail. They
Never
always
fail.
do.
there you go.
It's
So
the first time for Extreme for me and Gav and Jam.
Well, no, I saw them at Donington.
Yeah, I saw them before, probably at a local venue.
there you go. So
Dill saw them early on.
I've seen everyone. You know that. I've
So
seen everyone.
we'll see you later. We'll check in with you later.
Yeah. Rock on. Cheers.
Metal.
So the only problem with going to the pub beforehand, obviously, especially when the booze is a little bit cheaper than certainly Wembley Arena. Mind you, the Savoy's cheaper than Wembley Arena, but we'll get to that. We were a little bit
Refreshed.
Yeah, we were loosened up. So anyway, let's get into Extreme. Yeah, I think we've all seen them with the exception of Gappy before. I was lucky enough to see them on Porno Graffiti at Wolverhampton Civic Hall when I was at uni back in the day, when I was in Birmingham. I think Gav and Jam had seen them at Donington in 92 or 93, I think it was. So, and I've also seen them at Cambridge Corn Exchange about, nearly 20 years ago.
For me, the first two songs and the last two songs were brilliant.
Yeah.
Everything pretty much in between was not really that good. And they didn't play Warheads, which is one of my favourite songs, and I was really looking forward to seeing that, but never mind. I couldn't really hear Nuno's guitar either. I couldn't hear the individual notes of his soloing. It was just disappointing. It really was.
And they've got the talent, haven't they? So I guess what everybody's saying is too much filler, not enough killer. And they've got the back catalogue. So, and I think that probably reiterates some of the feedback that we've had on Twitter, or X, I should say, post the gig, that too many guitar solos and too much acting like they were the headline band, which probably maybe didn't resonate with the audience as well as it should have. So, Gav, we got another clip, haven't we? Where and we were even more refreshed.
Yeah, we can go to our. It's a little bit noisy, people. I'm sorry about this, but we thought we'd have our say fresh off the stage. So here we go.
Tales from the PowerAge. How you doing, guys?
Hello.
So we've just watched Extreme. They took out. It's a bit loud. Yeah. Interestingly, Nuno, I guess, thought it was a headline gig, given his
he plays a million solos.
his guitar prowess. But
We all know he's brilliant, but play another song, please, Nuno.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, they've got a brilliant set. They've got a brilliant catalogue, and maybe they could have fitted a couple more in. But
Yeah.
any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, that'd be my feedback. They're brilliant. They've got loads of great songs, and
They only played 4 of them.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, God,
Including not playing Warheads.
and I
Big mistake.
Bit of deja vu there.
we had solos. We had a little bit of a drum solo. We had an acoustic solo. We had, I mean, the singer was off stage half the time, and
Gary Tyrone was picking his ass most of the time.
And I don't want to be negative because I really love them, but when I saw them at Donington, it was the same thing. They had a huge album, and Jerome spent half the time facing the drummer, not looking at the crowd. And they always seem to find a way of ruining an obvious hit.
I'm sorry, Extreme. I'm sorry for any of that.
I love you guys, but
It
honestly,
was the first time I'd seen Extreme. I was really looking forward to them, and the first 2 songs blew me away. They were brilliant because they played Pizza Monster and the first one off
Decadence Dance.
Yeah, Decadence Dance. I was all over the place.
yeah, which is fucking brilliant.
Really expecting to hear Warheads, but unfortunately not.
In a previous pod, we covered Judas Priest and Saxon here. But it's full. It's full for the support band.
Yeah, it's very full.
Absolutely rammed. I'm really surprised. I didn't think it was going to be so full as it was. And everyone seemed fairly happy with it. Lots of people sat down. When Saxon supported, Saxon had a full back line, had a full show. This didn't feel like a full back line. So in Extreme's defence, I don't know what was given over to them stage.
That's my pint.
Sorry. I don't know what was given over to them stage-wise, but they didn't get the production that Saxon got. And everyone on the floor was sat in their chairs. So I'm not 100% sure what was happening. I'm
I must
hoping.
admit, though, More Than Words was exceptional.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
When Scorpions.
We all sang along to it.
We videoed it, and I apologise for
Bloody
me
awesome.
and Gappy's backing vocals there.
My backing vocals were immense, and you will know that when you watch the video.
There you go. I think we're being told off for opening the fire exit behind us. Maybe. No, well, almost close. So there you have it. They need to play more songs. They need to engage with the crowd, and they need to stop playing guitar solos.
We're about to
And we go and watch the main event.
So I'm going to see Scorpions. Now, just a quick message on Scorpions. I think I mentioned before, Wembley Arena, not my favourite venue. Everything's extortionate and absolutely not deserved to be extortionate, I would say. But we're looking forward to Scorps tonight. We've got okay seats. We've had a good time this afternoon, agreed?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so should be all right. The merch is all right, actually, the Scorps, isn't it?
Yeah.
T-shirts from 30 quid,
I
so...
would say cheap at £30 a fucking t-shirt, especially after Dylan bought one for ACDC Rotterdam for 50 bloody euros.
£44 it was actually, and worth.
Shit, I said Rotterdam.
Yeah, we're worth every penny, I might add. There it is. It's awesome. Look at that. There it is. Anyways, so look, we'll update on Scorps afterwards. See you later, guys. Bye.
Love you.
Well, I think we were slightly refreshed, some more than others, so apologies for any...
I think we were all about the same state of refreshment here, to be fair.
We all had a lovely time. So before we go on to Scorps, I think it's a bit of a recurring theme about the arena itself and the facilities and how expensive it is. And you probably saw how tightly the pints were being held because $8.75.
You didn't want to spill any.
You didn't want to spill it. But also something that we haven't mentioned before is the lack of room and the seating as well. I mean, it's just absolutely diabolical. You've got no room to move at all. I mean, it's just like and apologise for any smaller people that may be watching this, but it's just designed for, well, you have to be like under 5 foot to comfortably fit in all of those seats. So they need to sort it out. I think they need to reduce the capacity and make it into something that is comfortable for everybody because
Totally agree with that, mate.
Diabolical. It's just not good enough. And particularly when you're spending the money that you're spending to go there as well. It's just not good enough.
I've got to add, I always thought that Wembley Arena was 10,000 capacity, and my head always thinks 10. I've looked online today, it's 12,500.
Yeah.
They've clearly, I know they've revamped it fairly recently, but 12,500, that's exactly the point I was going to make to you. They've got clearly crammed an extra 2,500 in because There's no standing or anything at this. It was seats all across the floor. They're selling 12,500 tickets. They're getting 12,500 punters that they want in, because the punters they've got in for this are the ones with, I know it's a tricky time, but a lot of those people have got disposable incomes. They've worked hard a lot of their life and they've got disposable income. So they are happy. They're not happy, but they're going to spend 30, 40 quid on a T-shirt. They want a pint of lager because they've earned the right to do what they want with their money. And these guys are taking the piss. I don't want to get, but it's.
No, you're right though. I think everybody agrees. It's not good enough. It's not
wrong.
Good it's third rate facilities and top rate prices.
Yeah, correct. And the final part that we haven't mentioned yet is the staffing. They're not even then spending the money. They've put their staff to do hot dogs, because a hot dog £9 for a hot dog, and they've got staff there to serve hot dogs. No one wants it. There's no one eating, basically. But they're not spending money. I guess the profit, I'm sure, is a lot less on the merchandise. There's no staff at the merchandise, and the queuing was disgraceful. There were people missing the beginning of the extreme because you couldn't get into the auditorium because they're not paying staff from early enough. They should have had the auditorium open earlier. Doors were too late because they don't want to spend the money on the staff. So Wembley Arena.
They do.
I love that T-shirt. You got that T-shirt? You still got it on?
Yeah,
I love that T-shirt, and I was going to spend the money on that T-shirt, but there's no way I was queuing up for 30, 40 minutes to get it. It's a brilliant T-shirt
and really good value. To have a good value T-shirt on sale is fair play to the band and that. But yeah, it's a real shame.
Anyway, just before we get to the Scorps, mentioned in one of the clips, I've been to Amsterdam on the Wednesday, the Johan Cruyff Arena. They could send some of their people from Wembley Arena to learn how to really do it. 3 bars on the pitch, at least 30 people behind the bar. We didn't wait any longer than 1 minute for a drink. Double JD was €10 and Coke, and the merch. There were queues for the merch, but nothing like that. I mean, you would at the front of the merch stand in 10 minutes. And by the way, there were way more people. There were over 52,000 at AC/DC buying merchandise. You can just imagine what that was like. Self-service drinks, self-service food, just a world away from what they're offering. So they need Wembley Arena sort it out because it's diabolical. Anyway, let's pick it up a bit now and let's talk about the Scorps. So, Gab, do you want to kick off with the set list, because there's some classic songs on here, right?
Yeah, I think they're sticking to the same set list all the way around. Because I had a look at some earlier shows and it was absolutely identical. But that's fine. That's when you've got all those screens and stuff like that, you can't change, switch songs around and stuff like that because it's all kind of pre-programmed. But yeah, they were great. I guess they're showing their age a little bit, dare I say it. But we've always said this about the Scorps. They always deliver. In the opening was really cool, wasn't it, with Coming Home? Yeah, the way they brought that in. And we should say that a lot of these songs are on the live channel, Tales from the PowerAge Live, getting some decent viewings. I'll probably put some links below as well, but you can find us on Tales from the PowerAge Live. Dill took a whole bunch of songs, so you can enjoy it there after this.
Cool. Jam?
For me, because it was a Love First Sting special, I'm always a little bit iffy about special when they do a whole album. I'm always a bit because you only get every track you don't. But for me, I loved it because I love that record. I'm Leaving You. I don't think I've seen that live before, and I've certainly not seen Crossfire before. So having those two in the set, I absolutely loved it. I love the Scorpions. I think we know that. I've never seen them at Wembley Arena. I've seen them at the O2. Last time they were out just a few years ago at the O2, they were all really brilliant. I thought that was going to be the last time I saw them. So I'll be honest, this gig I treated as a complete and utter bonus. I honestly didn't think I'd ever be able to see them again, especially when they did a residency in Vegas. For them to come and see us just for one day, it was brilliant, and that's why it was absolutely jam packed. It was rammed.
It was.
Everyone from everywhere, the whole of the British Isles came, which made it really gave it a feel, and everyone that was there were really, really, and it sounds a bit obvious, really into the Scorpions, and were, I think, thankful that they'd taken the time to come to us, because they didn't always, over the last 40 odd years, they haven't always managed to get to Britain because of the cost. Nowadays, for the bands, it's even, don't want to get too political, but it's even more costly. for a German band, massive across the world, to come to Britain. So thank you. As I say, there were a couple of my highlights. Overall, set list wise, it had everything it could have. It had 3 ballads, the best of which for me was Send Me an Angel. I can't see it on there. Oh, there we are. Send Me an Angel. I thought sounded really good. I've never liked the other 2, but that's another point. But it's really, really good, I thought. You said about the age, Klaus's vocals were superb. I honestly, he's hitting notes that I can't now hit, and I'm 54 for God's sake. He hit the notes so well, and he tailored any things that he did have to tailor. He tailored superbly. It did mean that he couldn't get around the stage as much as I'm sure he would have liked, and how much he used to get around the stage. I think that's fine, because you've got Rudy and Matthias are giving it. They're all over the place. They've got plenty of gas in the tank. They've got plenty of gas in the tank to get around the stage. So fair play to Klaus. I would rather he concentrate on his singing and be a bit more stationary in the middle of the stage and run around and sound atrocious. So
yeah, definitely.
I was really pleased. I thought it was great.
Okay, brilliant. Gaps?
Yeah, I mean, I was really looking forward to it. Like Jam, I mean, we all thought seeing them in 2018 at the O2 was going to be the last time we ever saw them. So we were so chuffed that they were going to be doing this again, especially with this album. The set list is great. They've got Make It Real, The Zoo, Coast to Coast. I'm Leaving You again for Jam. It's one of my favourite songs off of Still Loving You. What an idiot! Off of Love at First Sting. But I'm not a big Crossfire fan. But to hear it, it was different, without a doubt. Because have they ever played it before? I've got no idea, but I doubt it. Yeah, and they were fantastic. The sound, as with Extreme, it was nowhere near as good as the sound at O2. I mean, a lot of people slag off the O2, but I think the sound in the O2 is way better than Wembley Arena.
It is. It's a good venue, actually.
The solo, you got Matthias Yab solo there. We did a different solo because he had the drums in it, and it was really quite decent. We left before the encores because we all know that Jam doesn't like a ballad, and Still Loving You doesn't really do it for anybody, really. But I think Wind of Change, which is another ballad, it was great. It was absolutely brilliant, and the whole of the crowd was singing the vocals at one point. And I think we've got a video for that on the channel, haven't we? Where everyone's singing it, and the whole crowd's absolutely brilliant. Don't like The Same Thrill. I don't know why they played that. Really, it's not really a live song that should go through, but they could have put another song in there. Blackout was brilliant. Big City Nights, Bad Boys Running Wild, all the decent ones. Yeah, I mean, they blew me away again. And as Jam says, Klaus's vocals still top. And how old is he? 76.
Yes.
Is it 76?
Yeah.
76 years old, and he still hits pretty much every note. And like he doesn't do a lot of running around, but Rudy does exactly. He does all the running around for Klaus, and he's got to be the same age, pretty much the same age. I don't know how old he is, but he's definitely in his mid-70s, and he's like a 15-year-old. He just runs around the place like it was unreal. I had a bit of a disaster in Coast to Coast because I was banging my hair, and obviously I've got quite long hair, and as Dill said, there's not enough room for anyone in that place. Jam told me afterwards when I was banging my head, I was flicking it in some bloke's pint in front of me. So he wasn't very happy about that. But the thing was, someone behind me actually pulled my hair because I was banging my head, and that really, really pissed me off. Because Coast to Coast is one of my favourite songs of all time, and it's not even a song; it's an instrumental, but it's still absolutely brilliant. And that, that really, really took it down a notch for me. And I didn't bang my head for the whole of the rest of the gig.
There you go. So if you come back, Scorps, do Hammersmith Odeon. So much.
Or the O2 again. You can easily do the O2 again.
Do you know what? I agree with everything that you guys have said. 2 more comments just to add that you haven't mentioned. Mickey D, I think, has given them a real shot in the arm. He's great. The drums, I think you commented on the night, gaps were quite loud, and the snare in particular, to me, was probably too loud on the night. I'm not sure we needed the drum solo, which seemed to go on for about half an hour, although it was as good as it was probably a little bit too much. And the other thing I would say, Scorps, we've all got to get home at night somehow, and if you're not staying over, struggling to get the encores in because you're struggling to get the last train back. So just be mindful of that when you're coming on to do these gigs and you're paying a lot of money to go. if you're traveling in on the night, you're going to struggle to see the whole show because, I mean, it's supposed to have gone on till nearly 11 o'clock, 10 to 11. That's too late for me to get back the other side of town. So, but overall, really slick. I thought they were super slick, and it was a great night out. So well done, Scorps. So
well done.
Brilliant. So shall we just go on to talk about all of you lovely people that are watching, giving us a sub and a like and getting involved in our 2 channels. As already mentioned by the guys, we've got a live channel and we've uploaded some of the videos from that. So Jam took a brilliant one of Blackout, which we've uploaded, which has had a decent number of views already. So if you can support that and get involved, that would be wonderful. Loads of other stuff on there as well, lots of stuff coming. So if you like the stuff that we like, you're going to see lots of stuff in the next few months. You can check out our stuff on Facebook. You can get involved and talk to us on X, on Twitter, on Tales from the PowerAge at TFTPA. We're on that every single day. We've broken the 500 mark on that as well. Follow us. So well done. Thanks, everyone. And thanks for continuing to just talk nonsense all day and just talk rock in between everything else that we do every day. You can get involved on online at www.talesfromthepowerage.com. You can buy some merch for Redbubble, and if you're lucky enough to meet us at some of these amazing gigs, you might, if you're really lucky, get a little badge. And for those lovely people that we met
I've got one somewhere
in the pub and at Wembley Arena, they all got a badge.
under my hair.
I've got a badge.
Yeah, so, and even some friends that we met in Amsterdam as well got some badges. So if you ever see anyone with a badge, they've met us, and they're very lucky to have done that. So
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed that. See you soon. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.